rise and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Grant. Here. Lays. Burke.
Here.
Graham. Here. Keller. Here. Miller.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here, Mr. Rose has indicated he will not be able to attend this evening.
That may join us by phone after.
Okay.
Mr. President, I would like to take this opportunity, if I might, to call attention to the 3 students who lost at Maine West this school year. I'd like to have us observe a moment of silence if we could. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 207's best. Mr. Presley.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to introduce to you Maine East's nominee for 207's Best for Elective in Fine Arts, Jessica Vineyards. If you would stand, please. You can see she's really shy, which is again one of those things that really comes out. She's just really has an amazing presence. This young woman is an incredible musician. I remember the first time she came to us at Maine East about this time, maybe early February, 4 years ago. And when she came in, I think she was along with her mother, as I understand it, and had a violin in tow. So she did her intake interview, and the teachers who sort of handled that, mother said, "No, get this out and play." And they said, "Oh wow, she plays very well." So we were at a meeting down in the basement, in 020. And somebody came down and got Sherry Bima, the ESL chair, and said, "You need to come up and hear the student." Sherry got up, listened for a minute, called Ed Eubank, who was down in the basement, and said, "You need to come up and hear the student." So Ed was telling me about this, came up and listened, and actually, it was okay as a violinist, but the thing was she was trying to do more than she had the technique to do. There was clearly something there. So in the Maine East tradition, with a very little bit of Polish on Ed's part and very little English on the student's part and mother, they figured out that cello was really the instrument she plays, so let's go with the So they took a walk up, and I guess there was some dialogue, some Polish sort of being spoken back and forth between mother and Jessica, and got up, and the school instruments are functional. They're not the greatest things in the world, and she kind of looked at it like, what's this, got a bow, sat down and proceeded to rip off a movement of the Haydn cello concerto in really nice orders. It was like, well, all right. A day later, they were in a little musical at that time, Beauty and the Beast. Ed asked her to come back, sit in the pit, and she didn't quite know what American musical was all about, but was very comfortable, sat in like she'd been playing all her life. June Lee, who was a senior trumpet player, another fine musician, I think, was made to comment, "Oh my God, she's a gift from God." So, she's just been, her accomplishment. I remember the first time I heard her in concert, and sort of nudged Ed and was like, "Who is that student and where'd she come from?" And again, she plays really well, but it's fabulous to watch her because she just has such an energy and an enthusiasm, and she's completely comfortable in terms of what she does in that way. She's been very strong academically, been in a number of fine arts classes, but has taken a very respectable academic program to prepare her for college. And actually, if you look at her transcript, she was never a sophomore. She went from freshman standing immediately to junior standing. Could have taken Prairie State tests in her sophomore year, but waited, and actually she's sort of young in terms of her age cohort. Read just a couple of real quick excerpts here. Ed wrote quite a bit, but I'm going to read just a part. So I've been impressed with Jessica's fluency of technique and her deep commitment to bringing her expressive self to her music. She plays with great flair, abandon, and a sense of joy rarely found in young musicians. For Jessica, music is not a task on her daily agenda, and practice is not simply another mark to check off a list. Music is who she is. She's immersed in the art of cello and brings such a marvelous, joyous passion to her playing. In rehearsal, she is the life of the ensemble. She's one of the finest rehearsal musicians I've known, hardworking and always contributing, and simply makes the art of making music more fun, more energetic, more enjoyable for everyone around her. Sarah Georgievic, our orchestra conductor, wrote just a little bit. So when I reflect on all of Jessica's contributions to Maine East, I'm most amazed by her dedication to her classmates. Jessica treats all of her fellow students with great respect and care. She's constantly helpful and stands out as a person that people look up to and seek out for help. Jessica is selfless in her work with our orchestra and has motivated her classmates to work harder and accomplish more. She's an outstanding student of the highest character. She's really a Maine East success story. And that's not to say that, oh, look what Maine East has done for her, although I think that that contribution is significant. But she's also somebody that's come in, and because of her talent, her leadership, she helps everybody else rise to higher levels. So, I mean, it really has been a win-win. We're incredibly proud of her. We're anxiously awaiting news from a number of auditions on both coasts. She'll tell you a little bit more about that. So, Jessica, who's here with you tonight?
My dad. That's my dad. My wonderful orchestra teacher.
Okay.
My wonderful counselor. And Mr. Eubank. My wonderful Maine East story.
Outstanding. What are you hoping to do next year? Where do you want to go? What are you planning to do?
Next year I plan to go to college and study cello, of course. And I'm waiting to hear from New England Conservatory, San Francisco Conservatory, Oberlin Conservatory, and Bloomington
Indiana University.
Yeah, Indiana University.
Okay. Very good. Congratulations. We're very, very proud of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Best of luck to you.
Good luck.
Okay, Dr. Hogan.
Hi, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Nicole. I've been working on this, Beach. Yes. Beach. Her nickname is Sparkles, and if you saw her on stage last weekend, you would absolutely know why. She does sparkle. She played the Marcy, the actress Marcy in the Putnam County Spelling Bee, and I had the pleasure of being pulled up on stage to see her up close and personal, and had to spell some very difficult words, and it embarrassed me. And I even considered yanking this award from Nicole because in the middle of the production, she stuck her tongue out at me because I got an easier word and got to continue to but I assumed it was just acting and decided to continue this award. Mr. Barnett shared with me that when Nicole's name came up in the nominations in the Fine Arts Department, that there was adamant approval that Nicole should be the recipient of this award. She has shown on our stage since her freshman year in a number of different productions and has really excelled there. But she's also excelled in the classroom, taking really difficult classes and doing extremely well. I had asked some of her teachers to give me some words about Nicole, and her drama teacher and director of the last musical, Ms. Skiba, wrote a beautiful letter about her, and I included most of it in our board packet for you, but I wanted to highlight some of what she said. She said, I've had the pleasure of being Nicole's teacher in drama class and Nicole's director in our school's Broadway musicals. And during my 20-plus years of working with high school students, Nicole is one of the few that I have encountered who combines great talent with an exemplary work ethic and a dynamic personality. Everybody shares that she's one of the hardest working students they've ever met. She's passionate about theater and is focused on having a theatrical career, and she'll tell you more about that as well later. The greatest compliment I can give Nicole is that she raises the quality of work of the students around her. Through her example, her maturity and commitment, talent and professionalism, she inspires other students to do their best work. And while Nicole fills many of her after-school hours with play and speech rehearsal, she does keep up those academic grades. And what I love the way Ms. Skiba ends it. She said, it might be assumed that a student with so much talent and recognition would be self-centered and conceited, or undisciplined and difficult to work with. Quite the contrary. Nicole's personality definitely does not fit into any of those theatrical stereotypes. She is consistently upbeat and outgoing. She is a pleasure to work with and to be with. Quite simply, Nicole Sparkles. So it is my pleasure to reintroduce to you Nicole and offer her as Maine West's nomination for Channel 7's Best. Did anybody come with you tonight?
Yeah!
Nice.
And Mr. Barnett came. He's the fine arts chair. And those are my people.
Yes. And what are your plans?
My people. I have, ideally, I will be going to Northwestern, but of course they don't give us decisions until April. So I'm waiting on Northwestern. Northwestern's like my ideal because I love it there. I love Evanston, love the school, love the academics, love the theater, love the business, all of it's awesome. If not, I'm already accepted to Illinois Wesleyan, and that has been panning out really well, and they have really good study abroad options, which sounds really awesome.
And what you plan to do?
Oh, okay. So ideally, if I go to Wesleyan, I'm already accepted for the Bachelor's of Arts, which is not a conservatory, but it's like a little bit broader, you guys know. And then if I go to Northwestern, it's theater and business, and so ideally, that will pan out.
Excellent. Congrats, Nicole.
I know there were several other board members that were at the play, at the musical, and it was fantastic. You guys did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you.
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Messmer. Claire's mother showed up here before the meeting, let us know she was home ill. If you could just give us a few words about her, because I'm sure she would have been as energetic and effervescent as these two have been.
Absolutely. Claire Floriano is Maine South's 207's Best for Achievement in the Performing Arts. Claire, just a couple of quick highlights about Claire. Member of our choir, vocal jazz ensemble, many of our productions such as Pride and Prejudice this fall. Ironically, she won't be in our musical this year of Chicago because she's competing nationally for the Constitution team, which is another passion of hers, government and politics. So very well-rounded student. And again, Claire, hopefully when I shook Claire's hand earlier, or late last week, I didn't give her anything because my family is sick. So hopefully I didn't give her that gift for being 207's best. But again, a fabulous young lady, and we will get this award to her next month.
Thank you. Jessica and Nicole, if you could join Mr. Beery out in the hall along with the principals, they will take some pictures of you. And for the rest of you, you're of course welcome to stay and enjoy the business of the board. Otherwise, if you want to leave, now's the chance. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I should I ask about the syllabus?
You know,
Yeah, you said you had some items.
Yes, this will be close. We'll start with the play, which at East, which I haven't yet seen, but I'm very much looking forward to the early modern Miller. The South play was terrific. The Tempest, always great. They were absolutely outstanding. Moving on to West, the spelling bee. She was, our lovely student was adorable. The play was fun. It was adorable. And next, April 12th is the foundation dinner. I'm inviting everybody. It's a $50 ticket for dinner and a donation to the foundation, which is an outstanding organization. I joined Eldon last year. He's been on it forever, and now I am. And so please notice this. This is the centerpiece of a fantastic mosaic that's been installed at Maine West. If you haven't been there, go and see it. It's incredible. So the foundation is using that as their invitation. So please join us April 12th. We need an invitation, we've got it.
You can get tickets online on the foundation website.
Okay, anything else I missed? Good.
Okay, are there any public comments to come before the board? Any other updates from board members? Superintendent, do you have anything?
just that I think Mr. Lace is ready to join us.
Okay.
So,
Sheldon, Building and Grounds Committee on February 27th.
You should have, everybody has copies of the minutes, right? We did a walking tour of Maine West, and it was excellent. It's wonderful to see how well these buildings have been kept up, even Maine East, and its age still looks great. West, you can walk in, it almost looks like a new school. Just amazing, and quite a credit to the principal and Curtis Floyd, who is in charge of building and grounds at Maine West. We have,
Let the record reflect at 7:16, Eric Blaze has joined us by telephone.
we will attempt to set a date for Maine South walkthrough tonight. Sean will give us some dates, we'll work on that. I guess the main, I'm going to go ahead and mention the fact that the one glaring error or omission at the Maine West campus is a field house. Ken was able to actually see a press release from 1967, I think it was, talking about the need for a field house in Maine West.
Well, it said be there soon.
That,
You know, soon is a relative term.
1964, I think it was. It
So,
said coming soon.
so that is something that I hope that we can look at. I realize that this is not the time right now, but I think we need to look at the possibility of getting deeper into that possibility very soon. So I guess that completes my report. That was unfortunately when we got the very, very sad news about the last student passed away. Any questions for anybody? Looks to me like that from both east and west, and I'm sure we'll find it south as well, that our money is being well spent. The buildings, facilities, and equipment is very well up to date, and we're doing a good job for our students, I believe.
Thank you. Eric, is there any update you want to give us on the Finance Committee on February 23rd?
Yes, the one update, and I believe it's called out in the last paragraph of the report, if you bear with me a second, is regarding some policy changes that the Finance Committee is considering. Just wanted to draw board members' attention to it. We've discussed it a bit in the past, but if you look under policy review, it says Ms. Kalu outlined successive revisions to policy 8000. This policy partners with a new proposed policy 8001, with the objective being to create an annual balanced budget without short-term borrowing, as well as maintaining a sufficient year-end fund balance. More discussion will be held at a future committee meeting. So we intend to kind of firm out some of those things at our next scheduled Finance Committee meeting and bring forward to the board a proposal at the April meeting for first reading on both of those policies that solve some of the problems just with placement of some of the language that surfaced last time it came up with, I think, was perhaps in the spring or summer.
Okay. Joanne, do you want to update us on the Education Committee of February 29th?
Yes, the Education Committee met 3:30 on the 29th. And Donna, Eldon, and I made up that committee, and Barb went through with us a number of different topics, starting with the student tracker data. So we've put in some information. We haven't completed that report. We're moving ahead. Barb also gave us an update on the advanced placement results for this year with a variety of questions that she says will be addressed over the next several months, at least, right, Barb? And then she talked a little bit about where we are right now with the research on how we grade. So there's a committee that is looking at that, and Barb gave us an update on that information. I don't know, Barb, are you going to report out any more today about DEP or?
Yeah, that's on the agenda.
Okay. And so we'll be meeting again shortly, maybe within a week.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Superintendent?
Just one thing, and for Eric and Margaret, both of whom asked that we take a look at the board docs program. So I've asked Hank to get some information about that and allow the board members to take a closer look at it. It's got some functionality that board members are interested in. So we'll have something hopefully by the next board meeting to report on that.
Okay. Mary, brief on the monthly status of finances, please.
In your board packet is the January financial report. On the revenue side, January is 58.3% of the year complete. We have collected about 51% of our revenue. The state continues to be behind in payments. They're behind about $1.8 million. We've gotten one of our categorical quarterly funds from them. We're anticipating 3 to come in at budget, but we'll know by the end of August. On the general state aid side, they announced that we're not going to get our last payments, so our general state aid will have a shortfall of about $300,000.
What percentage?
About 10%. On the expenditure side, we're at 49% of our budget expended, and a large portion of that has to do with our 10-month employees, because our 10-month employees have only received 41.6% of their salary and benefits, so that would drive that percentage down. Are there any questions on the January financial report?
Okay. Instructional services. Barbara, can you brief us on textbooks?
Sure. Behind you on the table are a slew of textbooks that are coming before you. This is the first exposure to them for you, and hopefully we'll bring them back to you next month looking for approval. In that collection are books that have been trialed and now are up for adoption. There are some books that are going to be new trials. There are some books that are supplementary. And on your spreadsheet in your board packet, you see the delineation on each text, what department, what building, cost, comments from the teacher, and which category they sit in. To kind of summarize the themes of some of the choices for the books, I noted 5 or 6 things I'd share with you. One is that, first of all, we've done a good job, I think, of trying to keep our textbook adoptions to a minimum and hope that teachers are using them for at least 5 years before they're looking for a change. I think there's only 1 or maybe possibly 2 exceptions to that, and it had to do with the publisher not supporting that text any longer, so that's a good thing. Second, there's quite a few of these books that now are showing online text resources and unsupported, supported kinds of materials. I think this is a way of the future. We're probably going to see more of that, and as we shift perhaps from paper to electronic resources in the future years, you'll see more of that. But we're beginning to notice that, particularly the Pearson books in science, for example. A lot of our science teachers and science chairs, and other department members too, math and others are investigating that and moving away. I think you'll also notice that there's some choices here that reflect realignments of the curriculum given the examination of the Common Core standards. And also, as we've dug into some of our AP data and looked at materials that need to support the curriculum to help our students do better on the AP tests. And quite a few books are also in the Lit Circle category. So please note that while there may be several books from a department, the students may be reading one of those, not purchasing all of those. And I think that's been noted in boldface in the explanatory section. Do you have any questions or any of this?
Just a quick question. Can you perhaps give us some examples of how the support would work? You talked about some of the publishers having web pages available to students. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, let's see, Hank, if you can help me with this too. For example, I'm looking at Biology Science East. Actually, it's probably going to be showing up at, I would think, South as well. They've looked at materials, and we took a DLC meeting actually, and looked at the range of different kinds of materials and practice sets of problems and links that can lead you to even web resources that have gadgets that help you simulate labs online and that sort of thing. These are tools that come along with the textbook. It depends on the textbook series. Some of them are licenses that student gets along with the book. Some of them are licenses that we can reassign to students over the life of the adoption. What am I forgetting?
Some come with digital CD-ROMs still. Most are going away from that though. It varies very, greatly
Yeah.
from textbook manufacturer and even textbook to textbook.
And they may have the actual textbook there to read too, as an online text.
Does the research show that that type of support makes a difference? Do kids use it and is it effective?
I think it's highly engaging. Can I cite you some research study right now? No, I can't. A lot of it is brand new. But certainly, as we're going in this direction, and if we're making expenses in this direction, we're going to be asking for some, some data or some follow-up on that. And I think it's perfectly appropriate as an appeal to us and materials that they choose to also give us that kind of information. It's going to be a huge topic for us to investigate in the next few years.
Now, Marvin, I'm assuming that all the biology students are using this, all the teachers are using this, or is it, you say a trial, is it a trial with just one teacher, or
I believe when we have a trial, it's the trial of the course team.
the whole
Yeah,
course?
unless it says otherwise. And it comes up through the MCC discussion and approval. These are books that are looked at, not only in a department, but at the MCC, but at the admin council, et cetera. So it goes up the chain of review and approval.
Is cost ever a factor as they select these books?
I hope that it is, because, like, for example, I'll give you one that was discussion last year and it continued to be this year. The accounting book. First of all, that's a small section of students, and we were able to use NSERV funding, which is our current tech ed funding, to be able to buy the class set of books to have as a resource in the classroom to loan to the students taking the course. Because it's difficult to accept that you're going to pay for that kind of course, nearly $200 for the book, $197. So those students are not buying the book and they will not be buying it this year. But the reality is we look at a lot of the costs of other major core textbooks. They're, an average price is probably $75 to $85. They are expensive, no doubt, and I think that's one of the reasons why we had that investigation. Mary led the charge on it and looking at what could we work out with some, outside vendors to maybe control these costs a little bit more. I think that's something we're still interested in investigating, but we have some hurdles to jump over.
No, I mean, I think that, what broke down this year was that certain of the publishers would not give the third-party contractor the same deals that they would give us. So, because of that, we
So they
stopped.
give us deals, so to speak?
They gave us deals, and it's only one publisher. One publisher will only offer it if the books are purchased by the school district as opposed to a third-party vendor.
And those kinds of things involve teacher support material, extra resources, extra copies.
And how many texts do we purchase from that publisher?
A lot.
They're a big publisher.
So that even with the savings from moving to a online system, or moving the system, the textbook purchasing out of our purview and off to a third-party vendor, the savings would not allow us to.
Correct. For one major course, it was material worth $57,000. So it was all the teachers for material. They refused to give it to the district for 30 if the district had a third-party vendor budgets.
Full boards.
And on the subject of price, it did seem that like some of the prices seemed a little bizarrely high. On page 5 and 6, there's 4 novels. Werewolf in Arms, Call of the Wild, Lizzie and House of the Scorpions, which average about $48 a book. I don't think that's right.
No, that's why I said they're reading one of the books.
That's not the price of the book. I looked on Amazon and looked at the
No,
ISBN, and
no.
it's like $12.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that, you know, we're getting clear and accurate information, but, you know, it's, even if they're only reading
You're
one.
looking at page 5, right?
Page 5,
Yeah.
English 3 and
I'll double check that. I had them make a correction on the back side of that, and I thought that, I'll just double check that.
Yeah, Call of
There's
the
four
Wild,
books in
$49, no lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucy, $47.99, and House of the Scorpion on the next page for English 1, also $47 and $48, so it's just.
Well,
They're
that's not right, that's not right.
It's not right,
Pull
John.
that ISBN up on Amazon, they're $12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's incorrect.
What it may be is the, without seeing the template in front of me, I can't remember what the question is before that, and that may ask what's the total cost of the course, you know, all in, all fees, all those.
okay.
It may be that that's the cost that they put down, particularly since it's identical.
Might that be the case with my PT European with $150 book?
No, that one's actually probably $150.
Yeah, you
The
wish.
textbooks, that's
Yeah.
what you're paying. But the, you know, and frankly, those books could be bought in paperback, you know, you could probably, you know, on Amazon get them even cheaper, for a few bucks.
Now, these will all have to be purchased new this year, though. There's no used book available for them.
Well, if there are used books that are available.
Through the online purchase.
Or, how does that
Through
work?
the book suppliers, book suppliers, if it's not a first edition on its first run,
They should
you
have
can
used.
get used books into your.
Yeah, and the ISBN numbers are given to all of the students, and so on, you can go on to any other source
And get your own copy.
and get your own copy.
So this will be the top side. There's a very good possibility they can do a lot better than.
Well,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Good.
What I need to clear up is if it's a course fee or if it's some other mistake.
Yeah, because these ISBN numbers are from Amazon are falling back $7 and $10.
Yeah.
Does this mean then that this will all be done at home, or through the internet? Kids will purchase their books. We're not gonna have
going
books.
to be able to do that because of what Mary just explained.
Well, they could do some, for another, they could do,
Individually.
yeah, they could do
So
individually.
we're still gonna have the bookstore
Yes,
operation going?
yes.
And the sticker shop is still gonna be there when the parents go
Yes.
through the line? Okay.
We were.
If they buy it from us.
Yeah.
Any other questions on books? Okay, advanced placement report.
Okay, as Joanne foreshadowed, we had an ed committee meeting where we sort of previewed the report that's in your packet. And what I'd like you to think about is that those of us who are involved in this data and looking at it, which is probably district administrators and department heads in particular, we're kind of like a professional learning community with this. We're asking some questions about what the expectations are that we have for students. We're looking at the data that's coming back, and I'll credit Margaret for raising the red flag on some of it last year. We started to ask specific questions about what are we going to do since we're not meeting some of the benchmarks, which has generated a lot of work for Don, for various groups to look at more data underlying some of those results, and it has caused us to ask more and more questions. So I'm going to have to tell you that we delayed bringing this report for several months, thinking that we would have some more definitive answers. And we have some answers, but really this is a work in progress because we're still digging through some of the questions in the data. I will remind you that we have 5 benchmarks established in this district. The first benchmark is that we're hoping that students achieve a grade of 3 or higher, or the percentage of students achieving a grade of 3 or higher is going to be greater than the average percentage for the state and the nation. 2 out of our 3 schools, South and West, accomplished that this year. Our second benchmark is that 80% of the students of each school are going to achieve a score of 3 or higher. And again, South and West accomplished that in particular this year. Our third benchmark was that in each subject area tested, 80% of the students would earn a score of 3 or higher. And in each of the schools, there are areas where we need to work on that, and that's where the digging is going on. You have some explanations of what people are discovering, and in many cases it might be a new teacher, it might be a new course being taught for the first time, it might be the fact that we've opened the doors up widely to have some of our non-traditional students taking our advanced placement exams, and so we need to look at how we're going to support that and help them be ready for that. But in the pages that follow this report, we have some detail on those particular course areas. And that has resulted in part because we have accomplished the last 2 benchmarks. The first one being, have we increased the number of exams taken? Yes, we have, and we continue to do that. And that is a good thing. We're exposing more and more students to the rigor of what an AP curriculum is like, and that is a goal of this district. But it doesn't come without certain challenges in order to help those students do well on those exams. And the last benchmark we also have accomplished, which we are increasing the number of exams that those participating students are taking. So more exams, more students taking more exams, we get high marks for both of those areas. Some of the questions, I'm just going to kind of highlight the next 2 pages in your packet because I think it's important to characterize the good work that's going on. Are raising questions in some of the following areas. First of all, we are looking at the curriculum of our AP courses. Is it aligned to the required AP curriculum? And do we have some kind of vertical articulation so that a student is being prepared as a freshman, as a sophomore, as a junior for the course they will take in an AP area as a senior? We are looking at the impact of summer school. Are some students taking some of their core courses as summer school courses, thereby avoiding a year-long exposure to that curriculum, and maybe that using short shrift and being able to be prepared for the next full year of AP curriculum that they might take later. We're looking at the relationship between the course grade earned in the course and the exam score. And this is somewhat some of the work, too, of the grading committee that we have. It will be related to that. What do our grades tell us? What do they reflect about the mastery of concepts and content? We're also looking at which kids choose to take the exams and choose not to take the exams, and why. And there are a variety of interesting things we're discovering that cause us to ask more questions. There are some kids who we would have predicted would easily get a 5 in the exam who are choosing not to take the exam. We're not quite sure right now whether or not that might be because that's a particular exam that they've figured out they don't need for college, and so why expend the effort and the energy at that point and the expense of it? It may be that they're taking 5 or 7 AP exams, and that's 1 or 2 of them that they don't really need to actually take the exam for. And in this district, we don't require them to take the exam as a part of the course or part of getting the title on their transcript. Some districts do that. I'm not suggesting we should. It's just the fact that we don't, but it's something to think about or to wonder as to why kids are perhaps not taking the exam. We also looked at some data to see whether or not the kids who were taking multiple AP exams were being negatively impacted. Were they too overloaded? Were they getting lower scores because they were taking too many? And actually, the data that Don came up with showed the opposite, that the kids who were taking more exams probably were capable of taking more exams, were more motivated to do so, and their GPAs reflected that as well. So I'm not sure it's a causal relationship, but it certainly correlates.
Yeah, I would think that would be a relationship we would expect. It's the kid who's taking one AP class and may not have been prepared, or it's really stepping outside of your comfort zone, that they are struggling with that test.
What was the highest number we had? One student took 7?
One student took 8.
8. Which?
There are students that take them when they don't even take the AP course.
You know, we've done a lot of talking about and investigating and thinking and discussing and surmising about what should we be doing to help our struggling students, our non-traditional students who are taking these exams, who are opening the gates for in this curriculum. How can we help them? And one innovative idea that actually Brendan Gauden was here with us this evening, and Sean and the MCC for Social Studies are leading the pilot on this, is we're going to have this coming summer an AP enrichment sort of bridge transition week course that will be helpful for those who need to know what it's like if you're going to take an AP course. What are the kinds of study skill strategies? What's the rigor like? Kind of an overview and a helping hand to make it possible for them to imagine looking onto this rigorous track. I think there's going to be some other ventures like that we're going to talk to you about that we'll develop, but this is the first one out of the box, and I think we're pretty excited about it. Brendan's had some experience with it in his former district, and so we're going to give it a go here this next summer. It won't be a summer school course. It will be more of a workshop. It will be one that's extended for 0 credit. Is that what you're doing?
No, 3 times.
3 times, okay.
It's a 6-hour, 3 meetings of 2 hours to help students kind of bridge the gap throughout the summer. Help them kind of pace them through summer reading and summer work, build relationships with the course teacher. The teacher who teaches the AP class will actually meet with those students. So hopefully to build a nice relationship to help build success in the year.
And is it, which schools are?
All three
All three
schools. We're going to start in social studies, but there's a lot of interest in some of the other department areas too. So I think that goes well. We'll look at some other programs like that.
And how's that work again? I remember if you were showing at the committees, are students invited to attend? And
well, we're going to know who's identified for enrolling in that course track, right?
It's open to all students, however, we don't think all students would take it. Students who, Margaret, you have alluded to, might be kind of the first time taker, it's a pamphlet handed right to them by the counselor, hey, you know what, this would be a positive experience for you to help bridge that gap. So it is open to all. We'll find out how many people we have take us up on that offer. I think we're all very hopeful that we'll have a number of students do that as a way just to get brushed up and have a little bit of hand holding as they start their first AP.
so the idea is that there'd be some communication between the teacher and the student before this happens, so that the student would feel
the actual teachers.
Comfortable,
Yeah.
about attending. And I forget, is it free or is it a charge?
I think it's 20, Brendan, we come up with $25.
$25.
It is just AP US history.
Yeah, at this point.
And it's for, is it a summer program, is that what I heard? So, and the AP is typically taken 7th in April, May test for the senior year?
May.
May.
Well, AP US is junior, right?
Right,
Yeah,
junior year,
For 17
years.
years.
Yeah.
So this would be right before they came to school.
They would be at South?
All three.
buildings.
So for example, what might be an assignment from that? We're talking about the DBQs, you want to
Right,
say a
absolutely.
little about that?
There are a series of skill sets that we know that our students need in order to be successful in advanced placement. Students who haven't had AP before are often not knowing what those are. They come in day one, they've had a summer assignment, and they might be clearly lost. These check-in points throughout the time would be the document-based question, historical interpretation, the opportunity to meet with the teachers, get more comfortable with them. And, you know, we offer the 3 sessions spaced out throughout the summer so we can keep track and have teachers available for them at those times. We are also offering the AP Euro itself, and that is the second one, and that's taking sophomore year.
How will you evaluate that program?
You know, sure. Okay, thanks. One of the things that we looked at this year was just creating a bridge for more successful students to feel early on, so that they can have that success without having to drop the course or having too much anxiety when they first take it. So we're looking to move into that field right now.
And I suppose we could look at who takes it and then how they do it.
Yeah, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. I'm not quite sure how to go after this, but this is, taking AP exams, in my mind, or taking AP curriculum is good because it's rigorous and it's college expectations and so forth, and but there's another piece to this too that we tend to sell to students, and I just wanted, for my own good, have an assurance about this, and that is that you take this, you take an exam, you get a certain amount of credit, and oh, by the way, you're going to save all this money in college, and you're going to get placed here and there. I don't know that I can say that for every kid in every situation, and it would be an interesting study to dig into, and I may try to do some of this, to look at like U of I, for example, and take the major, looking at our student tracker data, we know where they go, and eventually we'll know what programs they graduate in. If we could contact like the College of Business and the College of whatever, you know, say 4 or 5 key colleges, and work with them to find out what kinds of credit do you accept in what subject areas, and give us some examples of where kids are placed, or do they get credit or not. Because I think that it's a little disingenuous to always have a kid think, I'm going to take these 5 or 7 AP courses, I'm going to pay, what is it, $85 a course? And I'm going to end up with, I'll go as a sophomore, I'll enter as a sophomore. And I'm not sure that that's true always. Not to say that that's the reason not to take the test, but I think we should just be honest about it if we can find out the data. So,
I'm a little curious, that wouldn't explain why somebody would take the course but not the test, because you certainly don't get college credit unless you take the test, right? So it's interesting to me that people would take AP, maybe it burnishes the transcript a little bit?
Yes, it does. And see, I think that's another factor. It may help you get placed at a higher level. I think Audrey has a story about that.
I think it helps with admissions.
And it shows, like U of I will say, I know firsthand, they will say, well, you need a couple of APs to show that you've had a rigorous schedule. Some people think you need, you know, fill your schedule with APs for U of I. That may or may not be true depending on a certain college there. But it's kind of hard to pin down, and I think there's a lot of myths floating around.
Didn't you tell us at our meeting that a lot of the universities now are only accepting 4s and 5s, they're less?
Well, since if you look at the national data on how many people now are taking AP exams versus, 10 years ago, imagine if you're a college and you're thinking about your bottom line, and more kids are applying and they have more AP tests, you're going to make your standard, be more rigorous. And so there are colleges that before might have taken 3s or 4s, now are saying 4s or 5s, or some even just 5s, or some not at all. I think MIT probably does not accept any at all. So I just think that it's risen, the bar has risen in terms of how much credit they're going to give you.
It seems like you're asking a lot to have a student take I'm a little unclear, is it these 3 2-hour courses, is it those 3 separate ones, or is it a total of?
6 hours. Oh, the 6 hours.
6 hours total.
Yeah.
So you're asking people to come in the summertime for 6 hours and to pay for it?
You're not required.
No, but my point was going to be whether, what would be the cost if we were to pay for it? And it just seems like you're asking an awful lot.
Well, it's $25 a student, right? That's what we figured we needed to cover the cost for a certain number in the section to pay for the teaching of it. So and you know what, I would want to charge that much, because if you don't charge anything at all, frankly, people sign up and then they don't show up because they have no skin in the game. I don't think 25 is too much to ask for something like that. And if someone has, trouble coming up with that expense, we can look at that, but I just don't know that it's advisable not to have some kind of commitment. The last thing I'll say, well, the last 2 things I'll say in terms of topics that have been investigated and looked at is, we've looked at the professional development that we may need to do and offer for our students, or our teachers rather, and we've also looked at whether or not we've got the right teachers teaching the right courses. And some of the data can help us make some decisions about that. There have been some cases where we have made some changes already. I think the last thing too is, a question about time in the schedule and to what extent is our current schedule, something which is a subject of Committee Kenneth chairing, getting in the way or hampering our ability to deliver an effective AP curriculum. So, not to put off answering definitive, detailed questions, which we can entertain now. I just want you to know this is a status report because we have done some good work. All departments are fully on high alert on this, looking in their various areas and at their data. But we don't have all the answers yet, so we can give you the answers the best we can tonight, but know that we're going to be coming back to you with fuller reports in the future. Principals and Don and I are able to answer any questions that you might have. Now, though.
Well, I'm glad that there's more of a process around this. I feel in the past it's been about explaining the scores as opposed to digging into the underlying issues. And I think, when I look at the scores, particularly at East, because those are the ones where they're really just not making the cut that we set for them, if you look at courses with more than 10 students, there's two AP courses with more than, you look at anything where there's more than 10 students who took the test. Only 2 of them were over the 80%. Yeah, for us to have, in particular, some of these where the passing grade was in the 40s and 50s, for, the calculus AB 40%, 93 students. We had 50+ students who who got a 1 or a 2. So
it tends to be it's the Saxon math, and those are not, if you profile a student that would normally be taking AP, those are not kids that were coming in the door with pretty high math skills.
Then maybe they shouldn't be taking calculus AB. I mean, we need to start asking that question too.
Well, and this is a point on Warren I think we've been trying to make for 5 or 6 years. We have 2 goals that I think are somewhat in opposition of themselves, 2 and 5. Because as we've been, have set a goal to grow this program, you've got regression to the mean that has happened over time.
But you have growth at West and at South, and you do not have the fall off the test scores that you have at East. So I think that we need to dig in and find out what the problem is, trying to manage it away through discussing, we have opposing goals here, that's fine, maybe we need to take a look at the goals. One of the things I think in terms of the goals that we have, this 80% 3 or greater, I don't know that should be uniform across all of these tests. Because when you look at what the average AP scores are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, different tests have different breakpoints. And to apply the same standard just because it's obvious and easy. I think our standard should be a stretch above the average, but it should not be a flat uniform 80%, because I think that then we're looking and we're saying maybe we're failing here, but on a national level, the test, 60% of the people get a 3 or above, and we're asking 80%, and that may not be realistic on some of these tests. So I think we might want to look at each individual test. Obviously, a little harder for everyone to, have a snapshot or a soundbite about how we're doing, but maybe a more realistic view of what we should be accomplishing and what we can accomplish.
Inferencing some of these statistics though is important because, as you point out, the national cut is about 60%. The national cut, the distribution of the students nationally who take it, doesn't look like our distribution. And we can evidence that by the fact that all...
I don't think we should have the national, but I think that where there's a disparity between, usually you look at the national, there are some tests nationally, 60% are getting 3 or above.
Sure.
And there are some tests nationally, 75% of the people almost are getting 3 or above. I think we need a different standard when we're looking at different tests that obviously have a much greater degree of difficulty than, they're not all uniform.
In some cases, we're doing well above what would be the national. I'm just talking about the global perspective of the distribution of students, because if you look at East actually, when you take into account all of the factors, East has a much higher proportion of kids taking test, and in particular West does. Now, West is moving in the right direction.
Let me explain this document.
Yeah.
What I'm passing around now, you're gonna be a little frustrated at because I've been asked to remove what all the other numbers are. This is coming off of the Steve Corrigan District 214 report. It's a CAD report of 132 schools. Looking at their actual passing AP test per 100 student level.
Which chart are we looking at?
Well, we're going to start with the one that has the truncated header. So it's based upon low income level that's supposed to be in school. Okay? And the backside adds a variable. It adds the district's the percentage of bachelor's degree in the district's community. What Steve Corrigan has examined using the data from all the CADCA schools is what should you be expecting for this school, in this case on this side, or this school in this district with the other two variables on the other side, given their low income levels and on the other side adding the community bachelor degree of the citizen, because he's found a lot of correlation between those. And as you can see, I have identified the numbers that represent Maine East, Maine West, and Maine South. And they are, in both cases, on both charts, above the line of expectation, which should be of some comfort to you.
So if this wasn't truncated, what would it say the first page?
In school.
In school. In school.
And just that the backside says the word school,
Yeah.
the front side doesn't.
So the front one is based upon low income level only, and then the second one adds the degree situation.
Right, the education level of the community. This is pulled from census data. So, you know, he was not comfortable with my putting out the identifiers for the other numbers.
I think we've seen it before.
Similar, he did this report in '09. This is one he's just released last week. But I think it does give us at least some comparables to see where we're sitting, given what the expectation should be.
So this is based on data this year or last year?
It's this year's AP data.
So
Last year,
Well, that's, yeah, this year's report is what I meant, which is looking at last year's spring season of taking AP tests.
And I started to mention the Washington Post report a minute ago, and that's an important piece of information to really inferences. And to get on that list, which is published as sort of the top high schools list, the Washington Post version, it's an easy metric. You have to have roughly one test per graduated senior. And South and East have been on that list since it originated, each of which has somewhere between a 1.5 and a 1.6 metric. So that's one and a half times the number of seniors that's a test taken. West actually, we believe, just passed this year just over the 1.0 metric. So what I'm trying to do is help you understand that the distribution between the three schools is pretty different. East is actually much closer to South in terms of its distribution. The density of the distribution, I'm not sure if that's the right term, but the impact with a radically different student population. So that's, that needs to be understood. Now, West and Aubrey has worked very hard at this. I think we're in a good place on this. We think all three of our schools this year are going to make that Washington Post list. So it's something about which we could all be very proud.
When did they publish?
Pardon?
When did they publish?
I think sometime in the spring or early summer.
I think beginning of summer.
Yeah.
May, June, sort of
Yeah.
called the challenge index.
Yes.
The other thing I'll say about this is, and we were talking about this at our district meeting this morning, we want to look at some of the schools that are, clustered around us or above us that we would like to think we're like, and talk to them in more detail about what they're doing. Because I think, when you, look at some of the schools that are maybe doing way more than expected, would like to know what are some of the best practices that they've got going, and that would be helpful.
So Barb, you said that you would get back with
Yes.
us.
Yeah.
Do you plan this to be an annual report, or do you think you might have some new information sooner?
Well, I'm not sure that we'll be coming back this year with the answers. We have work that we're doing. It's the kind of thing that if we discover some things, we can put it in Friday notes, keep kind of track of things. But it's gonna be work I would imagine might be spun out in some summer curriculum projects. It will certainly be in the fall. I'm certain it's gonna percolate its way into some PLTs and, it's ongoing. I can't give you a specific date when we're gonna have the manna from heaven on this one, but, we are hard at work on it, and I want you to know that, and we're taking it seriously.
And I think some of the things that we're doing, they won't manifest themselves until the next year anyway, maybe the next year's schools, this year's schools, next year.
Okay, any other questions? Give our National Merit Finalists.
Okay, very briefly, you have the list of the 2012 merit finalists, 4 names from Maine South. If you remember last year, we had 5, we had 4 from South and 1 from West. And this is the annual program that you see every year. These students have gone through the taking of the PSAT and an SQT, and then they become semi-finalists and then finalists. So this is simply reporting out to you the end of the chain.
Don't you normally report the,
We give you all of it along the way.
have you seen all of the
Earlier this
The
year.
semifinals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it'll pop up again in the annual report at the end of the summer.
Okay, any other questions on National Merit Finalists? Dr. Wells, monthly updated employee requests?
We have 6 requests this month, either already processed or in the process of being processed.
Number 6 on policies and procedures, numbers 5620, 5640, 5660, 5680, and 7100 are all being pulled. Let's go through the policies. Building grounds. So 1141, employment, professional, other employees.
I have a question, suggestion, thought on this. The new language says that no school board shall knowingly employ a person who has been convicted of any offense that would subject him or her to license, certification, suspension, or revocation pursuant to the school code. Well, the school board, our process has the board being, the superintendent recommends and the board approves. And just to align with our policies, I mean, I think that, it should read, and I can give this to you afterwards, Greg, the superintendent shall not knowingly recommend, and the board shall not knowingly employ a person.
Good idea. Any other questions or comments on 1141? Okay, that is the first reading. Come back next month.
So just to be clear, so the employ in your mind is the same thing as approve, a recommendation?
Or,
Well, when we approve it, we employ them, so therefore we would not, it doesn't matter, you can interchange those 2 words. But he's not gonna recommend somebody knowing that, and we certainly wouldn't approve them knowing that.
So by approving,
We employ.
same as employ?
Yeah.
Correct.
There's some culpability.
Well, I think she's giving you all the culpability.
Thank you very much, Margaret.
It was absolutely
Good catch.
smooth. How did you get it?
Good catch, Margaret.
Downright genius. Mr. Superintendent, good luck with that.
Thank you, thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Not a should have known standards, I think we're good.
Okay, consent agenda, is there anything anybody wishes to have pulled out of the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion on 7A through H. Is there a motion? There's a motion, Burke, second.
Second.
Second, Graham. Questions or comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Moore,
McGrath. Aye. Burke.
Yes.
Heller. Graham.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Aye.
I
Okay.
didn't hear my name called.
Oh, I'm sorry, Eric Lays.
Aye.
Sorry, Eric.
You said aye. And I swear his voice is deeper too.
It's been so quiet.
Number 8, resolution authorizing the hiring of realtor for the sale of 6600 North Kyoto, Century 21 McMullen. As recommended by the Finance Committee, the Board of Education adopt and approve resolution authorizing hiring of a realtor, Century 21 McMullen, for the sale of 6600 Kyoto. Commission not to exceed 3 3/4% for the sale of property. Details may be found in the appendices. Is there a motion? Miller, second. Heller. Questions or comments on the motion? Call the roll.
Lays.
Aye.
Heller.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Miller.
Aye.
McGrath.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Abstain. Number 9, auditor contract extension with Gladry and Pullen. As recommended, the Finance Committee, the Board of Education approved a 3-year contract extension from 2012 to 2014 for auditing services from Gladry and Pullen at a cost of $48,150 for 2012, $49,725 for 2013, $51,375 for 2014. Details are found in the appendices. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Lays, McGrath. Questions or comments on the motion? I have a question. In terms of attendance via phone,
Yes, okay.
okay? Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Heller.
Yes.
Lays.
Aye.
McGrath.
Aye.
Graham.
Yes.
Burke.
Yes.
Miller.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye. Resolution number 10 is 10. Take them separate. 10A, recommendation the Board of Education adopt a resolution authorizing the honorable dismissal of tenured teachers effective at the close of the 2011-2012 school year as presented. Motion, please.
So moved.
Graham, second. Burke. Questions or comments on the motion? Call. Go ahead.
Please tell me, what is the reason behind it? Yes.
Due to staff members who were on full year leaves of absence, who have decided to come back full-time, staff members who were on job shares, and now have come back full-time, we're overstaffed.
And there's only one person listed?
Yeah. There's only one person, there's only one tenured teacher affected by that. There's a breakdown, tenured, 4th year non-tenured, and then 1st through 3rd year.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
McGrath.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Miller.
Aye.
Heller. Lays.
Aye.
Graham.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Aye. 10B, that the Board of Education adopt a resolution authorizing the reduction in force of non-tenured teachers effective at the close of 2011-2012 school year as presented. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
McGrath. Graham. Questions or comments on the motion?
Just clarification again, that this is due to, we're not reducing staff, we're just, because of people coming back from job shares or leaves of absence, we are overstaffed.
Correct. Until the point where until we get our registration numbers and make our final staffing decisions, but we have the statutory deadline to meet. Yep.
So if we need additional teachers in the areas that these teachers have been let go, they will be recalled?
Some of them may be recalled,
Yes.
exactly.
Thank you.
These are not all of our non-tenured teachers?
No.
These are only those that we know maybe.
It's only based on our needs, so
Those
based
are
on the
effective
numbers,
at the bottom of the list.
these are the people that are at the bottom of the
We've got
particular
what?
seniority list.
Now, 10 people coming back off job share alone, I believe, this year.
We got 9 people listed on the list, that sounds about right.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Lays.
Lays.
Aye.
Heller. Graham.
Yes.
Burke.
Yes.
Miller.
Aye.
McGrath. Sullivan.
Aye. 10C, that the Board of Education adopt a resolution authorizing reduction in force of educational support personnel effective at the close of 2011-2012 school term as presented. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Burke, second. Second.
Second.
McGrath. Any questions or comments on the motion?
Can we talk about this one too also? I'd like to understand. This does not seem to be the exact same, or is it, I mean, this seems different. I don't know the personnel, am I missing something here or?
This is in response to the dissolution of METSEP.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm it. There's maybe one or two people that are not, are they all that stuff?
Yeah, these are all METSEP.
Okay.
The OTPTs.
And do we know, are they being, are they moving to some of the individual districts or?
Yes.
Many of them are.
Yes, in some cases, and in fact, some of them may be rehired here.
And some are retired.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
McGrath.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Miller.
Aye.
Graham.
Yes.
Lays.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye. 10D, a motion that the Board of Education adopt a resolution authorizing reduction in force of support staff effective the close of the 2011-2012 school term as presented. Motion, please.
Someone?
Graham, second.
Second.
McGrath, questions or comments on the motion?
Just asking a question once again. These are mostly METSEP,
These are all METSEP.
all METSEP? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Heller.
Yes.
Miller.
Aye.
McGrath.
Aye.
Lays.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Aye. Number 11, new club proposals, the Metalhead Club. Recommendation, the Board of Education accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools and approve the establishment of the Metalhead Club at Maine South High School as outlined in the appendices. Motion, please.
So moved.
Sure, it did get you two guys to talk 5 minutes ago, but you jumped right on the Metalhead Club.
Well,
Miller.
Either one of us can get the
Miller
second.
and Burke. Questions or comments on the motion?
I have some.
I'm not surprised.
If anybody's surprised, now's your time to say something. But when I look at the proposal, so they've asked for amount of anticipated Board of Education financial support, $50 to $100 per month.
They can ask for anything.
They can ask for anything. Okay. That's
It is made clear to them, they are truly self-supporting.
Okay.
Because then they need an extra $10 and $5 a fine, so they're.
Yeah, that really kind of struck me as odd too, but so be it. My next question has to do with the procedure for amendments. This is just my personal preference on this. I think that this is probably a bad idea. There are 4 people who are going to control whether or not an amendment is brought to the membership. You have a small group. Your minority can never be heard under these circumstances. If you're dissent in the group, it's just never gonna change. And with 4 people, you're gonna get a deadlock a lot. So I just, I think they're gonna have a problem with that. But my biggest problem is the standing committees. One of them, which is music sharing, which to me is
Potentially illegal.
yes, and I will, so before this club is approved, I would like to see something in the bylaws about not violating any state or federal law, and something where, that the members are all agreeing that this is.
So would you like to make a motion to table this item
Yes,
until
I
they
would like to
reconsider?
table
There's
this
a
item.
motion by McGrath, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brand. Any questions or comments on the motion to table until the Metalhead Club has the opportunity to review the bylaws and consider potential
Sean, are you
changes?
taking notes over
I'm
there?
taking the other part.
Consider potential changes prior to representation of the Board of Education.
I can live with everything but the music sharing. We really have to understand what that is, because that's, up to 30 group, that's.
I believe that is the nature of the dues, and I also believe that's also in the spirit of listening to the music at the actual meeting. So we can outline that and clarify.
And there are a number of legal ways to do it, but they should certainly clarify that that's the way they're going to do it.
Yeah. I certainly don't want to put a rubber stamp on that.
The motion on the table, the motion before us will table this until there's a revision and representation of the Metalhead bylaws. Call the roll.
McGrath,
Aye.
Burke,
Yes.
Lays,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Graham, Keller, Sullivan.
Aye, motion is tabled unanimously. 12, approval for grant application, Maine East Renewable Energy Club. Recommendation that the Board of Education approve submission of the application for a K-12 solar schools grant from the Illinois Clean Energy Community Foundation in the amount of $2,000 for the purposes of installation of a 1 kW solar panel system in Maine East High School, and also requests the support of the district of approximately $2,000 to complete the total project cost of $10,000. Details may be found in the appendices. Motion, please. Graham, second.
Second.
McGrath, questions or comments on the motion?
I do. I think it's kind of odd to approve at a cost of $2,000 with them seeking a grant of $8,000 and then further saying that if they don't get the grant of $8,000, we will pay the $10,000. So I would like to amend this motion to
Well,
authorize.
the motion does not authorize us to pay $10,000. The motion is strictly, it's a 20% matching. And so
The language is, and if you read, if you stop just before it says, if the grant is approved at an amount of less than $8,000, the club requests that the goods also be funded by the district.
right, but that's not what I read. What I read was the actual recommendation of the motion that's before the committee, which is that we would put up $2,000 to complete the total project cost of $10,000. So right now, that's maybe what they're proposing, but there's no motion in front of the board that we would give them the other $8,000 if they don't get the grant.
So the motion is the recommendation.
Motion is a recommendation, that's what I read, word for word. Any other questions or comments? And I agree with that, 100%. I don't object to the 20% matching.
Well, we want to pick up details. You read up the word 10,000, so we're not voting on details maybe found in the appendices.
No, sir.
Okay, that should come out of the written recommendation.
Right, it would just, we would be approving them applying for the $8,000 grant, and we would be approving our $2,000 contribution to that, period. And if they want something else, they'll have to come before us. Any other questions or comments on the motion? So it was Graham and McGrath. Hearing none, call the roll.
Miller,
Aye.
Lays,
Aye.
McGrath,
Aye.
Graham,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Keller, Sullivan.
Aye, motion passes unanimously as read. Calendar items, March 21st, North Cook Spring Dinner Meeting. March 23rd is Tuesday, March 26th through 30th, Spring Break. Administrative offices open during spring break.
Yes, of course.
April 2nd, regular board meeting of the Board of Education, and April 12th, the District 207 Foundation Benefit Dinner at the Rosewood. You can contact board members Burke or Keller if you have questions or comments on the foundation dinner.
You can also get tickets online on the foundation.
Now, our meeting scheduled for the
15th was the original.
15th is being canceled. There's no need for that. Week from today, so the 12th is being canceled. There's no need for that special meeting, correct?
There was the 12th, but it was 15th.
There's no need for a second special meeting in the month of March. Whatever day you guys want to have it, at this point in time, there's no need for the meeting.
In the event that we need to do anything, April works.
Okay. Or we would call a special meeting. We always have the right to do that with proper notice.
If we could right now, I'd like to establish a date for our walkthrough at Maine South. I'm going to recommend that we do it on Monday the 12th at 7 a.m., which is what now, Margaret? What works best for you? Because I know.
I cannot do Mondays.
Can you do a Tuesday?
The only day that Wednesday, most weeks, except next week, and then Fridays are also a possibility. But Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I have standing commitments in the morning.
Eric, how about you?
Listening to what Margaret just said, Wednesdays I generally would have to depart from Maine South at about 10:30 at the latest, whereas Friday would be about 9:15. So both of those mornings are pretty open.
Does Friday work, Sean, for you? Friday the 16th?
Absolutely.
So what?
Eric, Friday the 16th?
Friday the 16th?
So that's not this Friday, that's a week.
That's a week from this.
Week from Friday.
Friday the 16th is fine. So what time would it be, 8 o'clock then?
Margaret?
Does 8 work for you, Margaret?
Anytime works, as long as we're done by about 10.
Yeah, let's do 8 then. The 7 is a little early.
8 a.m. Eric.
8
Is that enough time, an hour 20?
That's 2 hours. You're leaving by 10 o'clock?
No, on a Friday I'd have to leave about 9:20. Wednesday I could leave 10 or 10:30.
Sean, what do you think?
Friday, 9:20, Friday about the longest I could stay.
I'm available Wednesday too.
Would you rather do Wednesday?
Well, she have to go to
The
the 21st, which would be better
14th,
for me
yeah.
too.
I can do the 21st as well.
The 21st?
Eric, how's the 21st for you?
21st is wide open.
Okay, the 21st then?
21st at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
8 to 10 a.m.
Yeah, or earlier if you guys end earlier, but we'd have from 8 to 10.
Can you let Mike know?
And
Okay.
you're gonna meet 8 a.m. here?
We'll meet here south in the principal's office at 8 a.m. on the 21st.
And then we'll see everyone that evening at the North Coast dinner meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, I teach that night, sorry.
We have everyone but Margaret, I think, is community.
Any other calendar items?
I don't know if this falls under calendar item or other, but I passed out a Team Amber bowling benefit. Amber Mooseby is a sophomore at Maine West who has brain cancer. We're doing a benefit. CJ Watson from the Chicago Bulls is coming out to sign autographs, et cetera, at a Brunswick zone out in Algonquin. We couldn't get the Brunswick zone in Mount Prospect for a close evening, so the Quiet Storm Foundation is running this benefit, and that's where I think I told you about the picture of everybody on the Maine West front lawn. That's where the squares will be sold to reveal that mural. It should be pretty neat, so it's a fundraiser, not only for our school-wise fundraiser, but also for Amber Moosby's family.
Eric, did you get all that?
It's on our website.
Sunday, March 11th, we can have Ginny email you the flyer.
Yeah, okay, the date I didn't hear, but I heard the rest of it.
Okay.
So that's good.
Okay. Any other calendar items? Any other, go ahead.
Yeah, the finance committee meeting, did we want to set that up? Mary?
We always want to set a finance committee meeting.
Okay, so what time of the month would you look for?
We have no bids or time-sensitive information, so your month of March is wide open.
Okay, and then, let's see, Margaret and Ed, it seemed like Thursday evening was better.
Those work for me. Are you talking the 15th or the 22nd?
I would say the Thursday the 15th, the 22nd I have a conflict. If that works for both of you.
I think we're gonna have
We'll be
negotiations.
in bargaining sessions on Thursdays now.
Bargaining session on Thursdays, Eric.
Until what time, and would the administration be interested in doing it afterwards?
Till 8 o'clock.
Till 8. And I'm not opposed to doing it afterwards.
It's kind of late.
And what do we have, an hour and a half worth of meeting?
Yes, we'll
So,
have,
so would that take us too late at 9:30, Margaret?
There's already some expression that it would be a little late to start at 8 o'clock.
Okay, then,
What about a morning? Like morning of the 28th, which is sometimes good for Margaret on a Wednesday.
That's spring break week.
yeah, but Ed, you need to
Oh, that's
take
right.
off fairly early, right?
I may, as with Margaret, we may have plans that week because it's
Spring break, bad week.
Okay. Thursday the 29th in the evening,
Same week.
The same week.
same week.
I would be back for that, but I probably will be gone the morning of the 28th. We're still in the situation I used to have.
no, we're off the week of spring break from bargaining.
Do you want to have Ginny send out a communication via email. You want Jenny to send out an email communication, see if you guys can work out a set date and time?
I've got a lot of flexibility.
We probably should. It sounds like it's gonna be a little bit of a tough go this month. but,
Well, what about prior to the April 2nd meeting, do an early meeting that night? Could you make that work?
Yeah, but the problem is we've got a policy issue before the committee, so we need some lag time to get that on the fourth agenda for first reading.
And I'm probably most flexible on a morning meeting, so it's kind of up to you and Margaret whether there's a date that works. We could meet
Okay.
anytime, almost any day for me.
What about the morning of the 23rd?
That would work for me. Again, same thing, I have to leave around 9:20, but I think I may have to be gone by then anyway, and Margaret too.
It's Friday morning, the 23rd.
I'm good on the 23rd.
I think I might be, I think
You
so.
want to do 7:30 that day?
Nobody fell out of their chairs, so I think it's a good sign. 7:30?
Yep.
7:30, they're both putting it in.
Okay.
Okay, so it's 7:30 on the
23rd.
23rd, here at school. Anything else for calendars?
I hate to come back, Mary said we need another building and grounds
All the
committee.
committee, all the policies we just pulled.
Do we need this before the April 2nd meeting?
No, those policies are regular press changes, so there's nothing
Okay,
burning
so
to have them
we
approved.
can do that meeting in April.
Yes,
Okay.
we can actually, even if you'd like, do it before the April 2nd board meeting.
Why don't we do that, set it early,
At,
set like 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock be enough time? Margaret?
Good.
Work for you? Eric?
Sure, that's fine.
6 o'clock on the 2nd of April for building and grounds for policy?
Oh, and Ed, you're invited too, because one of the tables that we policy
Policies that we
tabled
tabled.
was facility usage, and we tabled it to invite you to building and grounds committee meeting.
So that'd be before the April 2nd meeting?
Yes.
6 p.m.
Anything else for the calendar? Donna, I don't think you've spoken yet on the calendar. I mean, you want to jump in?
No, I reminded everybody.
Calendars that don't always sync.
Hey,
We're still working
oh,
on, we're working on a committee meeting, but I'm.
Google
we're gonna do it by
Calendar,
email.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to number 14.
I'll look at work.
Move on to number 14, communications. Any other communications to come before the board? Any other communications from board members? Eric, you got anything you need to say? Okay. Have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of reviewing student personnel. Review of closed session minutes, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, and dismissal of specific employees, foul, imminent or pending litigation, and collective negotiating matters. Is there a motion? Help. You got an F item? I don't think we're setting it at this point in time, are we?
No, we don't have that.
Are you setting the price for sale or lease or rule?
No, that's already been set.
Thank you.
So A through E, with a motion and a second, right? Ms. Keller and Brand. Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Keller? Lays?
Aye.
Graham? Yes. McGrath? Miller? Burke? Sullivan?
Aye, we are in closed session at 8:29.